Hello, I'm Doc, and welcome to our first devlog for our new game, Aggregate Core. And by our, I mean my colleague Alex and I. Alex is our lead in the art side of things, which includes concept art, 3D modeling, and game design. I, on the other hand, focus primarily on the programming side of things, animating, and of course, implementing everything into Unity as a part of the actual game. Together, we have been making games for about 3 years using Unity as our game engine. Now that you know a little about us, don't be a stranger, leave a comment down below about yourself. We'd love to see what others are doing and support our community. In this video, we wanted to share a little about the game itself, what our plans are for the game, and what the current state of the game is. Now, if you've been around here for a while, you may be wondering what happened to our game Carveros. And if you're new to this channel, you may not even know what that is. I do feel the need to expound on that, so I'll be brief. Carveros was a game we had been working on from the very beginning. It was my first project as I was learning game development, and continued to become Alex and my project for about 2.5 years. To sum up, after I made and released Daddy, a free-to-play game that I made in just a couple months and uploaded to Steam as my first published game, there's a link above to see more on that, I realized that Carveros had grown to have many problems. And one of the biggest ones was that it was meant to be a multiplayer game that I had failed to implement multiplayer in all the time I had been working on it. And don't get me wrong, I had tried after about 1.5 years of development, but the game broke and it took me a whole month just to remove multiplayer and get it working again. Needless to say, I realized the game would need to be restarted from the beginning. And so Alex and I talked about it, and we decided to work on something new, and maybe in the future we'll go back to that game. So with that out of the way, let's talk about our new game. Aggregate Core is meant to be a co-op first-person shooter with extraction and roguelike elements in a world that is constantly procedurally generated. Yes, I did say co-op, and that means online multiplayer. For our networking solution, I am using Unity's new multiplayer networking services such as Netcode and Lobby. And for now, it will be host server based rather than dedicated server based. The reason I chose this as a networking solution is because I found it really easy to implement, and I like that it's more of a pay-as-you-grow situation rather than a subscription. Finally, our plan is for the game to have extraction and roguelike elements to it, with a bit of story woven throughout play. We want each session you play to get harder the longer you are exploring, which will constantly push the players to decide when to turn back and keep what they've found, or when to keep going and risk losing it all. Perhaps most importantly, each session you play is going to be procedurally generated. There are a few reasons we are heading towards procedural generation and not handcrafting a world, and one of those reasons is to save time. Another reason is because I think procedurally generated sessions will help keep gameplay different every time. Players won't be able to memorize levels, and thus keeping them on their toes. For now, I won't get too detailed into the world and plot of the game. I'll just say we are making the game with a realistic, sci-fi, and grungy apocalyptic atmosphere. Next, you may be wondering what our timeline for this project looks like, or how we are affording to work on the game. Currently, we are both working mostly part-time on this game, with a job on the side, and we're not getting paid to work on the game yet. As this is our first game to monetize from, we haven't built up a business for our game development studio yet, but we definitely hope to. If you're interested in helping that dream come to life, it takes as little as subscribing to our channel and watching our videos, or go and wishlist our game on Steam. There will be a link in the description below. Thanks. As far as timeline goes, I'd say our goal is to have a demo out to the public as soon as possible. And then from there, a vertical slice that we can use for a Kickstarter campaign, all before the end of this year. If the game doesn't perform well on Kickstarter, then we'll consider releasing as early access on Steam. That may all sound like a lot to do in just half a year, but that leads me to my final words: the current state of the game. The game has been in development for about 5 months now. We've already implemented a player controller, procedural generation to the world, many assets, different enemies, and of course, multiplayer. Wouldn't want to forget that last one again. Progress on the game has been going well, and I think we may have a demo ready for the public within the next 3 months. So again, if you'd like to support us or get your hands on some gameplay, consider subscribing, liking this video, and wishlisting the game on Steam. That's all for now. Catch you on the next one.